Right, so before I begin this video, I have to give a massive disclaimer. I do not condone nor endorse anyone using any sort of nicotine products unless you're someone that's trying to quit smoking. As someone that's spent years addicted to cigarettes, it's really not a habit that you want to get into, so I have to give that disclaimer at the beginning because I worry that some people might see this and go, oh, yeah, I should take nicotine because it might give me better dreams or whatever. That is not the point of this video, and it is really not worth it. But disclaimer out of the way, I have been having some weird dreams due to nicotine. So long story short, I used to be a smoker and I unfortunately picked it back up earlier this year. I was stupid about that and started smoking again, and it wasn't even like, I would just smoke once in a while. It was quickly me smoking a pack or more a day, and so I realised pretty soon that I needed to stop this, and I first tried going cold turkey, which didn't really work. I then tried this thing called desmoxan or cytisine, which worked for me in the past, but this time it was giving me some really bad side effects that I couldn't tolerate, so I had to come off that. So the last option that I hadn't tried was nicotine replacement therapy. In other words, using patches, lozenges, gum, that sort of thing, as a way to replace the nicotine that you're getting from cigarettes, so you can spend some time just breaking the habit of actually smoking, rather than worrying also about your nicotine withdrawals. Now, there's lots of different forms of nicotine replacement therapy. There's the patch, there's lozenges, there's gum, there's a spray for your mouth, there's spray for your nose. I think that's about it. Or also, I suppose there's vaping. Some people switch to vaping from smoking. But anyway, I chose the patch and lozenges, and I've been playing around with those to get me off cigarettes. So I noticed right away when I started using these that I had some very weird dreams. I started having lots of dreams in like third person, or like on a 2D screen, or from like a top-down game view. Things in my dreams were just very weird. Like I would be walking around houses and everything would just be like neon and Technicolor, and things would be made out of like holographic type blocks, and yeah, everything was just really weird with these dreams, and it's been going like that every day since I started nicotine replacement therapy. I'm actually going to read you one of these dreams as an example, and by the way, I'm not reading this from my dream journal. I'm actually reading this from our Discord server. If you didn't know, we actually have a little Discord server. It's very little, it's very inactive compared to most servers, so don't be surprised if you come in and there's not much chatter. But we're trying to change that, so if you would like to change that yourself, consider joining the Discord server. I'll put a link somewhere down in the description. But anyway, the dream itself. I'll just read out my post. I had a lucid nightmare last night. I think it's due to being on NRT, nicotine replacement therapy, as I dumbly took up smoking again and am now trying to quit. I noticed the nicotine lozenges give me even crazier dreams than I normally have. In this dream, I was inside a house and everything was 2D, pseudo 3D. Think those old first-person dungeon crawler games from like the early 90s where you moved one tile at a time. There were these weird skinny pink alien-like creatures running at me, and I had a sword and was slicing them down. For some reason, I just knew waves of them would come until I died, and all I could do was try to survive for as long as possible until I eventually tired and succumbed. I sat there fighting them for a while, when I eventually had cleared the wave, so to speak. There was a break and they stopped coming for a moment. So I decided to try to escape the house to get away. I moved forward, and this was when I became lucid. All of a sudden, my vision went from that 2D dungeon crawler style to 3D, but everything looked kind of like in Tron. Everything was comprised of these semi-transparent neon 3D blocks. The whole house looks like some sort of 80s cyberpunk visual, and also like a liminal space at the same time. Very Endless Pools vibes. I started moving down the stairs looking for the exit. I reached the door, but it shut and locked on me, and all of a sudden I had something that I've experienced a few times happen. You've probably had it in a nightmare before, where you're suddenly frozen and can't move. I was able to get out of the freeze by using mind flying, but the door still wouldn't budge and my usual technique of just floating through the wall wasn't working. So I decided to just take in the view from the window while I waited for the next wave. Once I saw them coming, I said screw it, easy way out, and I woke myself up. So that's just one little example of the rather weird and unusual dreams that I've been having. For anyone considering trying this themselves, I would caution against it, even like ignoring the addictive potential of nicotine, just because there was a really unusual frequency of nightmares that I was getting from this. Like probably 60% to 70% of my dreams that I've had in the last couple of weeks have just been nightmares non-stop since I started this. I'm normally someone that doesn't really have nightmares, because what tends to happen is once something is scary, I tend to get lucid and I just end the scary stuff for myself, or I even just wake myself up if I don't feel like doing that. But a lot of these dreams are non-lucid, and the ones that are lucid, a lot of the time there's some weird quirks to them that things just don't work as they normally do with dream control. It's like, I don't know, it's like there's this sludge that is preventing me from using my dream control to its fullest potential a lot of the time. Like I get frozen in place and have to resort to mind flying, or I'm trying to spawn an object and for some reason it just spawns on a TV screen in front of me. So it's not the actual object, it's just an image of it. I've had a lot of little incidents like this happen since I started NRT. So I think for whatever reason, there is some sort of fight going on with your brain here where it wants to give you nightmares and it wants to, make you stuck and have trouble doing the things that you would normally do in a lucid dream. So it's not really a good tool for lucid dreaming if that's what you were hoping. But certainly for having very weird and unusual dreams, it did give me that. So if you are someone that smokes and you're considering quitting smoking and you're considering this route of quitting smoking, be prepared for some very vivid, very unusual dreams. Some nightmares and some weird stuff, and also just some weird goings on with your lucid dreaming control techniques. So yeah, that's been my experience with lucid dreaming and NRT. Before we go, I just want to remind you guys that this video is sponsored by you guys. If you would like a book that can become your guide on the journey through lucid dreaming, teaching you everything from the basics to more advanced stuff like creating your own techniques or even creating your own persistent dream worlds, something that answers those nagging questions that you've been having and helps you solve those lucid dreaming problems that you're running into along the way. It's everything you need to do to get from a beginner to an advanced lucid dreamer, and you can get it for 15% off using the code in the pinned comment. There should also be a link in the top right hand corner and down in the description below. Anyway, thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe and enable all notifications so you can stay up to date when my new videos come out. And if you want to keep watching, check out one of the videos on screen, go watch that, and I'll see you there soon. Take care and have some awesome lucid dreams.